Well, hello everybody. How you doing today? Hey, it's me, Jedi Graham Vale, and welcome back to Jedi Graham Vale Productions. I'm a little excited, a little nervous about this, but I have to say I'm going to have fun doing this. And you're wondering, what is this all about? Well, I tell if you see the thumbnail, it's a special Jedi Graham Vale Productions presentation. So, what the hell is this presentation about? Well, before I get into that, let me first start off by saying, hey, I'm a year older today. I made it another year. Here I am. I don't know where it's going to take me, but hopefully it takes me another, few years of my life, in this journey that we call living, as I like to say. But anyway, what is this so-called special presentation? You've done so many other things, Walter. What could you possibly be, you know, doing that's so special in terms of this particular thing? Well, I have to be honest. This is something that wasn't necessarily going to share, but I feel like it's something that once you get your imagination going, you just can't stop. And I feel like this is something I wanted to bring to the forefront, and I've been showing or sharing these little things online, regular social media, but I figure like here, it'll be more brought out, fleshed out a little bit, and you're gonna find out what I'm talking about. So to get all out of the way, let me just show what's on the background, which is well, this is creation of my own making through through AI. It's I have the imagination, but don't have the skills to draw. But and the thing about it is, I used to draw, but I guess lost touch with it. But that didn't mean I lose my imagination. So, who is this particular person that we're looking at here? This individual here is she is a superhero, and her code name is Black Knife. She is, and hold up a second, gotta get this particular. Yes, hello, Kevin. Thank you, sir. I know. I guess you can say I'm a legend because I'm almost 60, so that goes with that. But brother, thank you for the words of encouragement, and like I said, thank you so much, brother. You mean the world to me. You mean more than you might know. But but yes, this particular person is named Black Knife, but her real name is Yoram. And the reason why I wanted to share this because this is a story that I actually had cooked up years ago. And believe it or not, the original idea was this character was going to be black. She was black, and that's why the reason why she was called Black Knight. But in time, I said, it's just a fantasy that I came to my mind, and I'm not gonna, do much with it, So, but here comes AI coming in, storming into place, and basically it took over. And I said to myself, and funny thing is, the costume design was something that I had in mind for something else, but I said, let me take this particular concept here and put it on this particular person. And yes, she is very. Look, I can say I was going to get into that too. Yes, she's very Jack, and I feel that it was necessary for that. In fact, let me explain that right now. When I first came up with the concept of her, the design, she wasn't as like I say, like Kevin said, jacked, but it's kind of the so-called Henry Cavill motif where he's in Man of Steel as Superman, and he got in great shape, with what he looked like. And the thing about it is that Zack Snyder said himself, like, well, if this person's going to have the appearance of a superhero who can move mountains, literally move planets, why not just show that physique as well? you know And just to give a kind of clarification with that, here's something that I did that shows her statistics. Now, if you can read this, hopefully you can, but I'll read them off to you from my phone here. This is Black Knife, but her real name is, she was born year round. And as I say, if you read the statistics here, in fact, let me get my statistics up here so I can read at them. She is, like I say, it's kind of interesting that I have this up there. And oh yes, Mr. Daniel, how to do, bruh? How you feeling? Hope you're doing well, brother. Hopefully the family's doing okay and everything going well for you. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. But like I say, year round or Black Knife, depending on which one. Or like I say, it's almost the Clark Kent motif. It's like his not birth name. His birth name is Kal-El, but on Earth he's known as Superman. Well, anyway, reading the statistics here, you see that it's like I say, she is someone who is of, like I say, she is of Chinese heritage, but she was born by parents who were one was alien and the other one was angel descent. And in fact, hold up a second. See, we do, Kevin. I mean, I don't know why that's the problem, especially in Hollywood. I'm pretty sure they're doing it overseas, but me personally, I'm someone who loves to see authenticity when it comes to our superheroes, But now I can say, reading this, if I'm pretty sure you can read it, it's pretty legible. Like I say, she is she's Chinese descent, but she is, as you see, way older than you think. She's an immortal. She was born nearly 5,000 years ago. So, like I say, with the birth of her mom, the birth of her mom and the father combining, she's the product of this. She's the product of what she's become and what she is. So, and like I say, here, she's got the typical stance right here where she, standing superhero stance, she has the cape and everything. And I should explain the design of the outfit she's wearing all together. She basically is, like I say, representation of the things she's experienced in life. And I'll show that to you eventually. I'll show you how to look. The blue kind of represents just the, kind of level sense of what she is, kind of, because blue, it could be interpreted with many things, but she is basically someone that, thinks things through, because she was born on Earth, of course. And through her travels, through time, she really is someone that, still, I put it like this, she still struggles with the fact that what decisions are best suited in this world, because even though she's not human, she still is more humanistic than most humans are, struggling with certain things. But the blue cape is basically her representation of what she does with as far as struggling and everything. Now, the red, the costume itself that's red and everything, it's a representation of the blood that's spilt by so many humans, because she's someone who's trying to be a hero in terms of wanting to be a hero, because she's seen human beings, how they are, what their true nature are, you gotta get good, you gotta get bad. But she tries to, implement herself as best she can, trying not let more blood spill by others in life, and in travel she's been around. Now, the centerpiece that's on her chest there, if you look at it, it's a representation, because that's, like I say, it's called black. She's called Black Knife. It's black, but it's kind of a knife-ish kind of look. That means she sliced through all things that are out there, that are like normal human beings will be infected by, but she doesn't. And the shape of it is a reason why it's shaped the way it is, and you'll find out when we get there, you know. But to kind of go ahead with certain things here, this is just like I say, this is showing her stance here. You know, she's about to fly. You know, I mean, it's just something that I just did for fun. You know, and like I say, like I say, I had to up the ante of her physique because to me, I think the physique is more dynamic in showing how strong she really is. And like I say, right here we see her flying off. You know, and it's in New York, and this is where her permanent resting place is, even though she was born in China. And you know, this is like I say, I just wanted to share it because I mean, look when I was creating this character, I didn't know how far I was going to go. And what's up there, Jake? How you feeling today, sir? Hope you're doing fine on this Sunday afternoon. You know, hope you're doing okay. And thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Look, I'm just getting I just put it like this. I'm getting older, but you know, I don't know about wiser, but but that's how it is. But like I say, a look like this, you know, it's very rare that you see females portrayed in a kind of stance like this, showing that, you know, strong, you know, able-bodied individuals. And as I said before, she is of Chinese descent, you know, but now I explain how she is of Chinese descent to begin with, and this is like I say, just pieces of pictures of her, you know, in flight, and I see that's one thing I love about superheroes, especially if they have the ability to fly. It's like you want to see them in in flight mode. You know, you want to see them flying, basically. And I feel like seems like that's a problem. You know, it's like, okay, Thor and them got, you know, superpowers, you know, and they can fly themselves. But it's like whenever we see, and here's a funny thing about this. Supergirl recently came out, and I'm gonna just say that I don't know if I'll be planning to see that anytime soon, but it's doesn't look like it's gonna be. I mean, I might wait till I get on streaming and watch that. But anyway, the point I'm making is that we do need more ethnicity with superheroes that of different backgrounds, and this is her in this Black Knife in I think it's in Japan. Yes, in Japan, and this is just her, you know, flying off from where she was. But going back to her statistics, you know, it's amazing that I came up with all this on my own, and it just breathed life into it. It's like I said, told someone else. It's like, you know, it took on a life of itself, you know. And as the saying goes, you know, she's balanced, she's protective of all life, and she has the ability to heal. And again, like I say, we're going to get into a lot of what that is. In fact, I'm about to start doing something here where this can be brought to light, and you're gonna, like I say, this. I have, like I say, I have a full story. I mean, not so much a full story, but of kind of a basic story of what this person is and why she's doing what she does. Hold up a second. And okay. Now, so to begin with, where does this origin story even begin with? Well, this was going to be the thing that was going to be a challenge of me trying to get this going. But here it goes here. Let me go right back to the source. All right. Okay. These are her parents. You know, they start out like this, and I have to say it is amazing that they start out showing that these are individuals that start out the way. But I have to go back to where it really. I mean, I'm gonna get that out the way real quick. Trying to see if I can go back here. Oh yeah, she like I say, the mother is well. Actually, hold up a second. Let's go back here. Okay, here we go. Yes, the mother is very beautiful, but so is the believe it or not, the father's handsome too. Yes, but like I say, at birth, you see her, you know, challenging herself, and this is her like at a baby age, and showing her being able to push a rock. Now, here's the funny thing about this. This is something that I've always had in the back of my mind, and this is something in life that I've actually seen where I saw a baby, say about 1 or 2 years old, and this baby, didn't do anything special, but kind of give you an idea why I have this particular scene here. The baby pushed open a glass door, a glass and steel door. It's on a hinge, but the baby was able to push it open. And you're kind of thinking like yourself, like, how is a baby able to do that? True enough, physics and everything, it could be done. But the thing about it is, it's a baby. Babies don't have that kind of strength. At least that's how I look at it, And then, like I say, it's on a hinge, so maybe with enough momentum, the baby's able to do this, And as you can see, the baby here, Yoram, this is before she becomes Black Knight. She's able to push this 2-ton rock. Okay, and as you can see, the parents are like joyous about this and kind of. Hold up a second. You have to bear with me here because this is where things get kind of tricky. And this is where she's a little older, but she's pushing an even more heavier rock, and she's even, like, yes, it's like I'm doing it, And she see in the mother and father are praising her for this, They like see that she's able to do this, They very surprised, not so much surprised, but love the fact that they know that their daughter is something quite special. So that being said, we go further into her life in terms of and like I say, this story is very structured where how I made it. This is where we find out, as I said before, she has the ability to heal. All right. And this is her, like, I say right, like 7 or 8, something like that. And she's taking this little bird, and able to heal its broken wing. And able to heal her, able to heal life. And she can heal any kind of life. Now, is it to the point, and I guess the question should be brought up, is it to the point of basically she can resurrect someone? I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far. And the reason why I say I wouldn't go that far, because even she might have limits, although the mother was once a angel. So angels might have that divine power to heal things, maybe even resurrect. So maybe, but as I say, this is a potential moment for her where she's able to heal, and she finds out about this, Now, going a little further, and this is kind of her status, like I say, growing up, because she has to go through these situations where, and typically she has to deal with even this right here. This is where she's 15 years old. Okay. And like any teenager, like any of us, we I'm pretty sure anyone can to attest to this. I mean, anyone can pretty much realize that as a child, when we get into our when we're children, we get into this stuff. But once we get into our teen years, we think we know it all. And here we see her basically, frowning up. It's kind of like you can see it's like her parents are kind of scolding her because it's like you shouldn't be like this, you shouldn't do this. And like I say, the parents pretty much are not all that were before is in her. So she's inherently very strong at this point. In fact, she's, very strong in her. But the parents, they don't care because you're stronger than us. We're still your parents. And as you see that first photo of her, she's kind of like, she doesn't want to hear it. But as she turns and then they explain, look, you have to be wiser about this. You have to be, you have to show that you have to show some responsibility. And like any child, like any teenager, you don't want to hear this. You don't want to hear all these things. But it comes down to that, and I feel like that's something that, we as children, we as human beings, we must go through the motions with everything. So, but that being said, Yoram goes to, certain things where, let's see, make sure this is, you see, 1, 2. In fact, hold on 1 second, y'all. I got to do one thing here. In fact, let me put myself back on the screen here. Now, basically, like I say, these are certain things that happen with human beings, we as individuals. And like I say, I fleshed this character out pretty well in terms of what she has to go through, what she has to deal with. And let me see here. I'll erase that so that I can do this. Because the whole point of when I was doing this, I want to flesh this out, showing this, and it's the whole reason why I did it like this, so I can put because you can only put so many, pictures online. I don't know why you can't put more, but that's how it works that way, But you know what? It's working out pretty well, and trust me, what comes next is, like I say, adolescence in terms of who she is. Because Yoram, at this point, she's, like it's a teenager, but eventually she gets older, and so not just her mind matures a little bit more, but of course her body. So that being said, she experiences the one thing that all of us must go through, and this is what this happens to her. On her 18th birthday, her physique, her muscularity comes into full bloom. She is no longer, the tiny, average human being that she was before. This is where her muscularity, her muscles and everything, her strength, her physical strength comes into play. And when it happens, she's a little taken aback by it, but she realizes and she feels kind of ashamed by that because it's like, what is happening to me? Why is this taking place? So she covers up, and in truth be told, this is kind of something that I feel most females in life feel about anything when it comes to their appearance, And here we see her, covering up and knowing that I don't think I like this particular look on me. I don't like how this feels on me. And you kind of wonder, it's like, why, but it's it's but she can't undo it because it is part of her. You know, like me. Like anyone. It's like I'm black. That's kind of funny. I'm saying I'm black, but it's like I can't change my. I can't. Although science will try to, but she can never change who she is, what she looks. What she's able to do. And here, she go here. And you have to bear with me too. This is uh, oh no, that's the same thing. Okay, hold up. No, that's the same thing. Sorry. Um, Trust me, I kind of worked the kinks out a little bit, but it's still a work in progress where I can erase something and then put something back on. But here we go. Right here, here she's because she's 18 right now. She her body has matured. She's muscular now. And she's just wondering like, why is this particular thing happening to me? Why is this so-called whatever taking place with me? I mean, I shouldn't experience this. I shouldn't have this happen to me, but it is happening to her. You know, it is happening to her, and she must endure it. And here, this is a moment here that I feel is worth mentioning. Get down here. Here she's with her parents, and she's talking to them, and she's explaining to them, why is this happening to me? Why am I going through this? I mean, I shouldn't be going through situations like this where, like, why is my body like this? And truth be told, it's both the parents there. Usually it's just the mom that would be, but the father is just an important element as the mother. I wanted to include that because sometimes, in any person's life, whether it be the mother or the father, you know, son or daughter, if it's a son going through a certain tribulation, usually the father is there. But sometimes the mother can be someone with input on that child's life too, and vice versa for the daughter also. But hold on one second here. And like I say, truth be told, like I say, with her, I wanted to show that both parents' input, nourishment, is vital to her existence. I feel that that's to me. I feel that is necessary. I feel that that is something that is crucial to any child's existence. And her being somebody who's being hold up a second, make sure that's okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Somebody who's pretty much living, and it's like, am I really meant to be like this? Am I really meant to be this particular oddball or something like that? Because here, this is where she, like I say, shows her parents the muscularity of herself, showing her arm, showing that she has, it's like, why, like, look at this. I mean, I have, you know I'm muscular. I'm this. It's like, why is this happening to me? Why should this be happening to me? You know. But it goes without saying. Uh, it goes without saying. I'm sorry. Someone texted me saying that happy birthday to me. So I mean, I figured like, hey, I appreciate that. Uh, what's this not doing? Huh. In fact, put that in. There we go. And there we go. All right. Sorry. All right. Back to the story. Okay. But anyway, you see that she's, showing them these things, and she doesn't quite understand, and she's explaining to them, like, I don't know why I'm experiencing this. So she shows him this, but then the parents tell her, don't be afraid of what you are here. Don't be afraid of what you have, you know, pretty much. I mean, what you're, well, I can say, I put it like this: what you're becoming is going to be something greater than what you ever imagined, you know. And hold on a second. But you kind of get what I'm saying, though. I mean, she is basically, she's at this youth where she doesn't understand these things. Oh no, I might have. Oh no, hold up a second. Uh, that's okay. All right, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. But they give her comfort in knowing that. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I was distracted there, but something happened. But it's all good. It'll work out. Anyway, they show her the love that she needs and show her, what is necessary, because you have two parents, two people that showing her that, do not be afraid of what you're becoming, because you are far greater. And funny thing is, this kind of falls in line with the whole, motif of, you know, Jorel, the parents of Kal-El, and how they nurture him, spiritually. And then when he's sent to Earth, and Mom, Pa Kent, raise him, give him nourishment and what they need, what he needs to know, and just mentally to survive. Not so much because he's invulnerable. We're same here, and here we just see. Oh no, that's not the right. That's not what I'm looking for. I took that off. Here, like I say, it's sometime later, and she's like 19 years old. Just showing three people: the mother, the daughter, and the father, showing that, look, we know what to expect from you because we were something different in our whole ways. And like I said again, she still has to learn things as she's growing up, because here, hold up, what is this? Here, this is a moment, crucial moment for her, because even though she was strong before, she's way stronger now. But the thing about it is that it's kind of that Peter Parker moment where if you've seen the original, you know, Spider-Man, same Raimi Spider-Man, you know, his uncle pretty much said, with great power comes great responsibility. And here she has, done something, not deliberately, but accidentally, hurt somebody, where it's like, oh no, it's like this happened, I didn't mean it for this to go down like this. But the parents comfort her and let her know, it's like, this is just something that you have to learn. This is something that you have to understand and do for yourself in terms of what you have to accomplish. Because in the end, you are responsible for what you do. I mean, yes, you have powers unlike other people, but you still have to, manage it still for what you do. And I like the fact that I bring that up because I feel like that's something relatable for us as human beings. We have to learn how to be responsible for our actions, no matter what. We have to be responsible for what we do in this world, and it's it's something that I feel that gets overlooked sometimes. And sure, okay, that's what it is. All right. And I feel that that's something we all must face in our lives, And this is the whole point of what this character is, It's something relatable, not just like, wow, this person can bust through walls, can tear down, doors, it can fly. It's like, yeah, that's all and good, but what about how it relates to us as just plain human beings, you know? And I have to say, this what makes me realize how it affects me because when I was making the story up, I realized that eventually I'm going to get to something that might affect me just telling the story. And I have to say, this here is where things become, you know, reflective because now we're at the moment where Uram is no longer able to age, but her parents still are. Because see, even though they were born, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'll show you that whole motif about them, you know, coming into play and how they come to. But anyway, you see that at certain point in her life, she becomes 30. This is her 30 years old now, so she no longer ages, but her parents still do because all the energy, all the substance, all the things that they were is in her, and it kind of worries her that she's that's happening, but they let her know it's like, do not worry, this right here for us is a normal cycle of life. For you it might be a little different because you are where you are. And here is the moment where I have to say, I don't know why, and it's like it's something for me. I'm the one making it up, but I actually got emotional when when I created this, because here both the parents are like 150. I mean, there's still some residue of their essence before as an alien. I mean, as an angel and an alien, still kind of lingering. But she has to watch her parents, finally go at peace. But together they're at peace, and the daughter has to learn to, move on in time, and eventually she will track alone where she buries them, and then her journey in life begins. You know, and it's these moments that really calculate of how this is relatable for us because I have to say, this is hold up a second. Hold up. I can't show myself I can't show myself with this. So 1 year ago, 3 years ago, my father and my, my mother, I lost I lost her 15 years ago, but they were at the age where it was time for them. And like I say, it's like I say, when you show these things, make it relatable, make it where it's like I say something that everything that you see helps the people to relate to the character, because see, that's the whole notion of why I did this, because some superheroes aren't relatable. They're not relatable at all, you know. And hold on a second. They're not relatable. They're not relatable because it's like, well, this person can bust down walls, bust down. I mean, as I said, they have such great power, but at the same time, they how can I relate to them? How can I relate to them at all? And I don't know why this is so difficult. But anyway, so this is the reason why I, try to make the characters that I make. What help? Oh, sorry. I don't know what the hell that was. Anyway, the hell was that? Give me 1 second, folks. Like I say, this is why I did this live, because I feel like if I'm going to do this, if I mess up, hey, that's on me, like anything else. And I don't mind this, I don't mind the fact that I'm messing up and doing this, but to me, it's you know. But getting back to what I'm talking about, like I say, the whole issue with, like I say, with this, and then she has to bury her parents is trivial to her existence. They gave her the knowledge, they gave her the medicine, they gave her, when I say the medicine of thought about who and what she is, and I feel like that is crucial to her nature in life and what she will become later on basically as a hero, because she's still in the learning process. And like I say, this is like early in her life. She's 30. Well, she's older now. She's over nearly 2 centuries now old. So she's got a long trip ahead of her. She's got a long journey in life ahead of her. So, and along the way, she will encounter things like this. And as I say, I try to put in real world events where I feel that a pinnacle to her existence. And this one particular here is very crucial. The moment where she witnesses the crucifixion of Jesus. Now, going back to what I said before, and I mentioned before that, she, in fact, bring up the outfit. Notice that the symbol on her chest is, like I say, notice the shape of it. There's a whole reason why it's shaped the way it is, because of this moment here, witnessing the one person who really was a hero to humankind. And she took that as an example of what she should do in terms of how she should carry herself. It's like Jesus was Jesus was an example of sacrifice. She has to learn how to be a sacrificial individual too. So when you see the symbol on her chest is a symbol of representation of what she witnessed as somebody who really put themselves in harm's way in order to sacrifice for others, and that's the whole point. So you can understand why this is this moment right here is crucial. So that's the reason why for the, for the symbol on her chest, it's the representation of what is necessary for her to do in life, which is to help those who can't help themselves. So through that, she, like I say, she still goes through life with certain things that she has to do, where she has to experience things, and she meets up with individuals like this Gandhi. You know, now when I made this, I found out Gandhi is way shorter than what he is, because he's like 5'5", and Yoram is a tall individual. She's a tall Chinese woman. She's 5'9", so she would not be as tall as he is here. But the point I'm making is that she's meeting people who are inspirational, who give her, even though she's way older than them, you know. In fact, right here, she's at least she's at least over 4,000 years old at this point. But you can see the influence of these individuals, that help her on her journey in the world that she's surrounded herself with. And here, she meets Mandela, someone crucial, someone, it's, many people that she will come across that will influence her to do what is necessary for her to, better manage herself, to help those in need. It's not just by physical strength, but basically spiritual strength. And here she meets Mother Teresa when she was young. Like I say, she's meeting these people at their pinnacle point in life, but at the same time, she's meeting them where, each one, Gandhi, Mandela, and of course, Sister Teresa, they all have an influence on her in a positive way. And it helps her to distinguish what she needs to do with herself and what she needs to do later in the coming years, that she, does what she needs to do. Now, with that, like I say, she still experiences things like, let's see if this is, she experiencing things like this. This is the aftermath of 9/11, where she does help out, but she sees that this is something that is very, like this is, she realizes, like anything, she's going to see things where human beings do the most horrific things, and she knows she can't stop everything, but as a hero, or say as a person with the powers that she has, she tries to intervene as best she can. And we all know what happened that day. You all remember what took place. It was not a great day. And for her, and then like I said, I wanted to show too, like she's covered in dust. She's covered, in the what happened there that day, and all these things, like I say, all these things culminate to her being, her decisions and what she wants to do, what she needs to do. So, trying to make sure. Okay, that's what it is. All right. So, all those things come into play, but knowing that she does all these things, knowing that she does all these things and does what she has to do, she still, has to carry herself, and she must, endure the so-called pains of everyday life, and what she must, because like I say, going back to this, she sees that Christ himself, knew that, human beings are, they're not so much inherently evil, but they're not inherently good too. But he knew, because his father led him to say the sacrifice in order to pay the debt of them not being, you know, because God loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten son. And she has to learn to know that that's exactly what she needs to do. So you can see that I'm putting in a whole lot of divine, not so much religious, but more, what this person is, and this is what it comes down to. So, and this is where we get, like I say, more of a backstory, because that's the one thing I had to show a backstory with the parents. So, this is the first meeting of the parents. One comes in a ship, where the other one is just a divine angel, and you can see where it takes place in 3100 BCE, ancient China. That's where they landed. That's where they go to. And like I say, it's an encounter. If you ever seen Aquaman, or you know about Aquaman, it's kind of like what's the character Aquaman says. They're like two ships that cross in the night, and they will eventually, meet. And these two do meet. And here we see that they get closer to one another. They're about to encounter one another. And here, this is the mother. Even though, in a way, angels don't have a distinctive, look of whether they're male or female, she waits there, and as you can tell, her form is forming into something feminine, and the ship right there is, where the father will come out. So, that being said, I said I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it. The father is an alien. This is the look of him. And it kind of corresponds with some of the stuff we see in, not so much historical, facts or anything like that, but he looks like the typical alien we've seen multiple times in movies, in sketches or something like that. But he's an alien that's more, a pure energy of some sense, but he's got that form. So even though, and since they're not humans, since they're not human beings, either one of them, and just a clarification though, he's from somewhere that's like 3-4 galaxies away from where Earth is, and of course she's a divine, spirit from heaven. And it's kind of funny that they're both travelers coming from great distances, and here they come to meet. So here they meet up, and there's a connection there. They meet, and it's like, wow, sparks fly. It's like, oh my goodness. But there's something about that makes it such a beautiful connection, being a beautiful union. And eventually, oh, wait a minute, hold up. Sorry, some of the same thing. But I will get it, though. I will get it. that spark ignites. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right here, from that spark, they find a combined connection to one another. And somehow, an angel and an alien find that they feel for one another. And this is the result of what's to come next, which is, if I can pull this up. I mean, I will pull it up, but seven. Okay, here we go. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is where a moment in their lives comes to be what it is. Before they were, an angel and an alien, but after nearly 2 centuries later, they decide that maybe it's time to live as human beings, because in that status they really can't control. I mean, basically, as an angel, that character, the female character, she, you know, if you want to be a human being, if you want to love, even though that's an alien, you must confide to being a human being, you know. And kind of with the father, who's an alien, he must conform to doing the same thing. So they both, in a very unique way, change from angel to human being, and alien to human being. So this is where you show that the love for one another really is, that bond is really that strong for one another. It's so strong that they're willing to sacrifice their own bodies of what they were before. And to me, that shows right there why Uram is who she is. Because again, we see that coupling of one another, and like I say, when it happened, and it forever changed everything. So they became as one. So that that to me is something glorious in terms of what it's doing. So I feel like it's necessary for that to happen. I'm trying to get that off there. There we go. Anyway, we see that they become human beings, and as human beings, they try to do the most sensible thing to cement their love for one another. They, well, I mean, first they, like I say, we show here, and look, at this point, they're like 20 years old. One is, like I say, and they're both beautiful individuals. But to cement their to cement their love for one another, because now they're in human form, and the reason why they look Chinese, because, like I say, they're in China, so it's like, well, like, we'll just look like the people that are here that we're at. So to cement everything, they, commit that bond by marrying one another. And to me, I feel like that's something of a prominence of knowing that you show the union that you are. Excuse me. That shows how much you're dedicated, how much your love is that strong to do that. You need to basically, cement the marriage, and it's a beautiful, like they do the traditional wedding, Chinese wedding, especially at that time, and and they don't do anything like super over the top in terms of what they do. You know, they as it sees here, get to it. Uh, no, that's not too. No, okay, that's the wrong one. Sorry, that's not what I was trying to get. It's, that she's going to be coming a crucial moment in the story with that the line that I'm making, and I don't know why that came up. Hold up. Yes, here we see they do the typical things of the time. He's a farmer, and she's making, you know, clothing of the time. Simple, basic, things that humble individuals do, and they decide that that's what they want. They want a simple life, nothing glamorous, nothing's over the top. And they don't want to be rich because in their minds they are rich. They're rich with the knowledge that they have one another, you know, and that is something that's so crucial to me to why they do this. I think this is it here. Oh, well, this is her. This is Uram in London during the 1960s. But like I say, after all that's been said and done, now we get back to the moments where her journey, we pick back up, because like I say, and you can see the muscularity of herself. She's beautiful. She's more conservative than anything. Um, but you see where she gets the notion of why she does what she does. Because her parents decided to, be something other than just other than just what they are. I mean, they both have special powers. They both had this, but their love for one another was more stronger than anything. That's the power that really drove them to be what they were, which is settle down for one another and become what they are. And let me see here, something here. I think I must show this because this is what else? Let me see the okay now. Yes, I must show this, and this is something that I feel it's warranted. This is basically what happened to her year round before she became muscular. She was like I say, she had the typical physique before, but then it switched over to what it is now, and you see where the muscularity just like wow, that's and I feel like it was necessary for that to happen. I feel that was necessary for that to be, you know. But that was something crucial. But anyway, getting back to what Uram is, because basically, like I say, it's basically about her and everything that it interacts with. But getting back to her, we go back to no. I mean, oh my god, sorry about that. That's not who I'm. Yeah, again, she's somebody that's coming into the picture, but I don't want that to be the case, And in fact, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I mean, I'm not gonna cut it short, but I'm gonna. I was gonna try to do all this, but I see it took me a little bit longer than I thought it would. But that's okay. In fact, let me see here. Oh no, that's not. That's still not what I was looking for. Okay, because I'm gonna stick with just your Rams story for right now. But the other person that I keep popping up by mistake is going to be very crucial indeed. Now here we see, Urim in Paris, and it's at this point where she sees the world's problems, sees the world's, you know, so-called anguish of what they do, what they and what human beings do, and it's come to the point where she's like, I have to do something different here. I have to really, you know, do something that's, like I say, it's going to make a change, make a difference in everything. So hold up 1 second here. Because the bottom line is, Urim, as I said before, she lives the life of human beings, even though she's not human. But the thing about it is, she is somebody who must be more humanistic than any human on the planet. So here's where she decides to create the costume itself. And we see that, like I say, it's you got the muscularity and everything, but she makes it out of, and I should say, she makes it out of everyday earthly materials. But here's the catch about this, I should mention. If it's everyday materials on earth, it's going to rip and tear just like anything that man makes. Well, here's something that's very crucial to this. Even though she has this, even though she has, these abilities, she's able to do this and whatever, the crazy thing about this is that when she wears it, her body, like so many of us in life, we give off this kind of electrical magnetic field around us. Basically, what I'm saying is that we give off this, like say, force field. Not so much a force field, but this energy where it blocks certain things. And hers is so great that it's able to shield even her clothing that she wears from getting damaged, And I feel that that's the thing that's very crucial in terms of making, the costume and making the outfit that she's wearing. So here this is in a place in Africa where she's making the costume, and here is where she make sure I get it here. Where she tries the suit on for the first time, and she comprehends with it a little bit for a time, and she just looks at it, it's like, am I worthy to wear this? Am I worthy even display this kind of, because I don't know if have a hero's map or anything like that, And this is just another angle here where she studies herself in the mirror and just wonders, like, who am I to wear this? Who am I to, don this? Am I even, I have all this power, but do I have the, the so-called know-how in order to be representation of what someone like Jesus, the sacrifice, whatever. Now, it's not the problem she can sacrifice. In the past, she's done these things. She's done it, but she's done it in secret, not letting herself be known to individuals. So it's something that, like I say, another thing that makes a person like her not so much doubt, but more, more crucial. So here, sometime later, she actually dons it. She puts it on. I mean, this is, like I say, because she stores the thing 20 years before. she makes it 20 years before, because this is something right here where 20 years before she makes the, like in 2005, makes the costume, puts it on, but then it's like, I don't know if I want to. But then 20 years later, in the environment we live in, especially now, she decides, like, you know what, maybe it's time for me to don this suit and do this necessary. So remove that, remove that, remove that, and remove that. So she finally dons the costume, and soon she realizes, like, it's time for me to become what I was born to do. And here is where she takes her first flight in the costume. She didn't do it before. When she tried it on, she basically, put it on and just wore it, with the simple fact that, okay, what am I going to do? I mean, am I going to do this now or later? And apparently she waited till 20 years later to actually do it. So, okay, yeah, there we go. But hold on one second here. But yeah, this is the thing. Even though she's nearly 4,000 years old, that does not mean that she is without, you know, some kind of criticism about herself. She doesn't know that's for a fact. She still, as the saying goes, winging it, even after nearly 5,000 years. So after that, she finally decides to take flight, and this is where she gets in her hero mode. And here, she finally flies for the first time in this suit. And let me just say, when she gets into the suit, she really does a number where she does the heroic thing for the first time. And hold up a second. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we really get into the, as I like to say, the meat and potatoes part of it. And I feel like this is where we see her actually do some superhero shit. So take that off. Okay, so I'll just show this particular moment where she does her superhero thing, and I'm gonna kind of leave it there because I feel like I didn't want to, because I didn't realize it was going to be as long as it was. I mean, I thought it was going to be less than little, like right this time, but I still got to show that one particular character that I showed earlier by mistake. But like I say, like everything with the hero, you definitely have to have a villain, and that villain is, something special. But for right now, we'll just show Yoram, Black Knight. She's officially Black Knight with the costume on. And here, she stops in front of a convoy that's carrying, a chemical, a toxic chemical. I mean, basically a chemical, that's deadly to humans, and it's a tanker, and you see this pose by her. It's like, yes, she's determined. She's about to do something that's going to save lives. And she's basically just about to do this, So we go back to and she starts doing her superhero thing, where the people who have hijacked this particular chemical, they, as you see, impenetrable. They shoot at her, but it's like, yeah, you're not doing anything, buddy. All right, so they shoot at her, and over time, she knows how to defend herself without having to hurt somebody. She she pretty much, not so much hurt them, but she pretty much disables them, disarms them and everything. And one guy tries to do this. It's like, yeah, you're not winning, guy. You know. So we and I should say this is taking place in Somalia, just in case that's wasn't apparent, for you. I think now this is a moment right here where some of the guys try to shoot, not her, but shoot the tanker so it can spill out the chemical that is basically, gonna, it's gonna, if it goes into the environment, it's going to, like I say, erupt and just basically just, harm many, But as you see here, she didn't run. She walks in front of the missile in a way where it's like she's almost breaking time in a way. Let me see here. She's breaking time, and she doesn't have to like rush it. She can literally just walk, and she'll get there. She'll get there, and let's see here. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Anyway, so she gets there, and she basically, is able to stop. I mean, get there, and here it's kind of an homage to a scene in Superman 2 where, Non blocks a missile that hits him, and it doesn't do anything. And here, same thing applies to her. She gets hit, and it's like doesn't affect her, doesn't affect her. And going by, like I say, going again. Oh, come on. Some of the guys the mercenaries try to get away, but she throws this rock, and it kind of disables the car. It kind of flips it over. It doesn't kill them, but in the midst of this, one of them does get injured, and this is how she is. She's stopping criminals, but at the same time, she's able to, because she has the healing factor about herself. Remember that. She still has that healing factor. So she walks over to one of the guys that was injured, and you see her hands are glowing. And she walks up to the person, and she heals them, I mean, they're going to jail. They're going to prison. These guys are like, you missionary bastards. They like say, no, you're not get away that easily. But it shows that she knows right from wrong, and even though she is she's stopping these guys, she still has to perform a sense of well-being. It's like yes, they're bad, but that doesn't mean you can't show sympathetic in terms of like if they're injured or anything like that, So here we see that after all is said and done, let's see here. The police, the authorities arrive. The Somali police arrive, and she's there, there to do what's necessary, there to do what's let them know it's like, hey, I pretty much stopped them. Now y'all just have to clean it up. I mean, I mean, like I said, it's damage. Damage territory. But it is what it is. And I feel like that is something that's symbolic, and knowing that, yeah, I'm here to do this what is necessary, but I'm also going to do what it needs to be done in terms of this, and everything. And for after she flies away, and because she's still in Africa, she actually flies and lands in a secluded area here in Africa. You know, because she's been there before, well, many times actually, and she just knows that now that her identity is out, because eventually, because this is taking place in the now. This is taking place in the now, and with social media, with everyone has a camera, with all these things, you know, everyone has, photographic evidence of her existence. So anything that she tries to do now is, doesn't matter. She's no, basically the genie is out of the box, as the saying goes. And this is why, now she must, should cancel. She must now be who she is now. She is now Black Knife. She is now, she's still Yoram, but now she's Black Knife. She is here to do what it is necessary to be a hero to so many. And like I say, that is without saying just a taste of what I had before. And let me kind of take this off here, take that off there. And this is what conforms to what this person is. And this is what I wanted to this is why I wanted to do this special presentation, because I wanted to do do this showing this kind of manifestation of this character that I created, and showing what she's capable of, and and showing that it's just a fun thing. And like I say, since it's being my birthday, I just want to do something crazy off the top, But that being said, I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna cut it short, because I didn't think it was going to take as long. But I feel like when I come back with this, I'll definitely bring up what her foe is, and she's going to be a problem, trust me. And the problem is this individual. And just to give you an idea how serious she really is, her name is Silver Ghost. Well, that's her alter ego, but her real name is Io, and she's Japanese. And her story arc is way more, deeper than, I ain't gonna say it's not deeper than your rounds, but it's very interesting. But as I say again, I'm gonna cut it short with this and leave it with that. And I feel like, because I want the rest of the day, for my day to, go with this. But this is what the presentation was, and hopefully what I brought was something interesting for you to do. So for right now, I will be back to finish up with this, because I feel like this shouldn't have been taking so long, but I feel like I didn't realize, because of the complications of trying to put the images on screen and everything. But I actually enjoyed this. I was a little nervous trying to bring this to light, but you know what? I enjoyed this. I wanted to do this. It was fun. So hopefully when I return with that character, what you see, hopefully it kind of fills in the box of what comes next. So, But now, with that being said, I'm going to explain that this coming Friday, I have my 10th anniversary retrospect of my G Fest adventure and journey, because that was an interesting journey, I got to say. And that happening with that, hopefully somebody's going to be there. I mean, talking about who was there before to talk about it, but it's probably going to just be me, but that's okay, because what I got to talk about when I talk about it is the person that was back then is no longer now. And that's the thing about it I want to show. And come that next Sunday, I got a special treat for you here. I'm going to be discussing the 35th anniversary of the film John Singer created, Boys in the Hood. And I'm going to have a special guest with me. This is going to be my niece, Emily Elliott. And we're going to be discussing that film top to bottom, left to right. And we'll see how it goes, And then, like I say, after that, won't be doing anything, because that week next week is G Fest bound, baby. So I'm going to be there doing this. And sorry if I won't be doing any content for over a week, but hey, I need some time to myself. So I should say that, But hey, like I say, this has been fun. This has been interesting. What did you miss? Well, I'll just say this, Big Bad. You just missed the knowing that, you can always see this in a recording. It's because it's been recorded and it's going to be. But basically, I was just showing people a concept of a superhero of different color and basically all that, and her origins, blah blah blah, and that's pretty much something like that. But anyway, in closing, and thank you for joining up though, Long Wolf. Big Bad. But in closing, as I always say, y'all please take care. Not Dark. No, that's somebody else. Totally different. Totally different. Totally different. Totally different story. Totally different spine line. And yes, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. But like I say, as I end this all the time, thank you all again, and thank you for people in the comments giving me a birthday shout out. I thank you for that. I'm an old dog now. Well, I'm getting older, but I think the things that I'm still here, to explain these things, talk about these things. But anyway, again, as I always close out, y'all take care. Y'all please be patient, and always keep the love alive, because this was not a film. This is not a kaiju. This is just something I did for fun. But y'all take care and be patient, and always keep that love alive in your hearts. I'm out.